Hi, everybody.
I don't think we got sound from you though, bro.
Oh,
Okay, we're gonna figure that out.
going in your
Okay, well, without further ado, we are gonna welcome Bridget to the show. Bridget, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. We're gonna figure out our technical issues really shortly. I'm gonna unmute your mic. And thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. No problem.
So we got a couple things that we're going to discuss to get things started. Originally, we had some thoughts on the WNBA and exactly what that is going to look like going forward. I know there was a big announcement a couple days ago that they're trying to salvage a 22-game season. Games are going to take place in somewhere down near Sarasota, Clearwater, Florida, at the IMG Academy. What news have you heard? Can you give us any information on that?
Yeah, there's been a lot of developments like with the league, the Players Association. A lot of negotiations have been going on the past month, I want to say, trying to figure out when we can start, if we can start, what's that going to look like, all the health precautions, safety measures we have to take. And some of that's still getting figured out, but the league proposed, like you said, a 22-game season starting in late July, training camp for 2.5, 3 weeks before that. Like you said, at the IMG Academy in Florida, we're going to kind of be isolated there, not allowed to leave, not allowed to bring anybody else in. But yeah, we agreed to that at Players Association, and the league, our players agreed to it. So now it's just a matter of the safety measures that we have to take, kind of the fine details about it. But yeah, we're excited. At least some sports are going to happen eventually. But yeah, we're looking forward to that. I'm actually heading to Minneapolis this weekend just to get some on-court time with my coaches there, some individual workouts. But yeah, just to kind of break in the shoes again.
Yeah, so in lieu of the really quick announcement, obviously you guys have heard about the ongoing negotiations, but what does that do for your preparation time? Obviously, there's a pretty shortened timeline here. Does that change your preparation, or what does that look like for you the next little bit?
Yeah, for sure, because we're used to having a month training camp with our team, and now it's going to be shortened down to 2.5 weeks, and we have to get in all our plays, get in all our defensive schemes. It's going to be difficult in that aspect, and add in the part that none of us have been playing basketball for 3 months. Gyms have been closed. Nobody's been able to play 5-on-5 scrimmage in over 3 months. I haven't shot on indoor court since March 12th, which is never happened. So there's that part of it where you can't just jump into it right away and go 100%. Injuries can happen. You got to be kind of cautious about how you're doing that, and our coaches are pretty understanding about that. So yeah, it'll be kind of a slow little progression into training camp, but hopefully we can get everything down and be ready to go for end of July.
It reminds me that, I'm not sure if you're old enough to remember this movie, White Man Can't Jump, but when Wesley Snipes is shooting that free throw in front of Woody Harrelson, he's like, when you're outdoors, it moves a little to the left, a little to the right. It's a whole different ballgame versus playing on the indoor court, I'm sure.
It's been difficult for sure.
In terms of injury prevention, can you give us just an idea of what that looks like in your preparation or in any protocols that you have right now going into your little mini training camp?
Yeah, I think, injury prevention for me and for most of my teammates, it's ongoing. It happens year round. It's building a strong base. It's not necessarily, when we're in the middle of a season, we're still strength training. We're still getting in the weight room to make sure our strength isn't weakening. We're not getting weaker. We're not at risk for more injuries. So it's ongoing. We call it prehab rather than rehab. After an injury, you do rehab. So we do prehab before anything happens to try to avoid that. I've been doing some at-home workouts 3 times a week, strength-wise. Core is huge for me. I have some back issues, so building up my core, that's kind of an everyday thing for me. But yeah, those are the main things I do pretty much year-round, no matter the circumstance.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. We kind of subscribe and adhere to a lot of those same philosophies. I'm going to add Frank into the mix here. I think we may have our technical difficulties figured out. Hey, Frank. How's it going,
Hey,
man?
everybody. Hey, Bridget. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Welcome, Frank.
Yeah. So,
Frank, what do you think? Should we do this trivia? We've been talking about this trivia.
Yeah, let's do it.
I think we need to do this trivia right away. Bridget, you got a preview of the trivia questions.
Yeah.
We're looking for some responses here, some live responses.
Hey, we should let the viewers know what's up for grabs with these trivia.
Sure.
Yeah, show them the goodies.
Yeah, well, we did get some goodies. So we got a Bridget Carleton signed basketball that we're going to give away to the person who comes up with the fastest, most accurate questions or answers to the questions, and to the person who's second fastest or second most accurate, we have a Paisanos gift card for $20. So we got a couple little things we're going to give away today, and let's get down to it. So, Bridget, you're going to have to give us these answers because obviously that makes the most sense. What selection? And before you give the answers, let's see if we can get some live responses here too. Check the comments out and see what's going on. So what selection was Bridget in the 2019 WNBA draft? That is question number one. We'll give our viewers a few chances to respond here, a few seconds to respond. And I'll put that question up just so everybody see the question. So what selection was Bridget in the 2019 WNBA draft? And we're looking for round and selection or just overall selection. Either one of those probably work.
Are we allowed to give hints?
Yeah.
I think we got.
See what we got. Okay. Well, first one to respond, we got Megan Besler, 21st. Mr. Quigley might be cheating a little bit. I don't know. We got 22. Oh, here's a great answer. This one might win. Okay.
Oh, I think so.
She's
Sure.
biased.
That's okay. Well, we might take that one. That's a good answer. Kinetic Suns. Yes, that was the team that was selected. Owen, round two, Mr. Quigley. Yeah, we'll get back to that one. We'll give the answer to that one real shortly. Okay, next question. And this one I don't even know the answer to. So we're gonna maybe have to get your response after Bridget. Who is Bridget's or what is Bridget's favorite NBA team? All guesses welcome. Make your guesses.
I'm not giving any hints.
Yeah. Yeah, if I was to hazard a guess, I think I might have a guess, but
I have a feeling everybody's going to go with the Raptors, but I have a strong feeling it's probably not the Raptors. Oh, she's not biting either.
No.
I was pretty much to put on today for this interview, and I was about to put on the clothing of the team I cheer for, and I thought that would give it away, so I didn't.
Yeah, that's an extreme hint. Ooh, okay. Well, we did get a Raptors. We got a Golden State Warriors. Interesting. We got a Raptors. Raptors. Okay. All right. Next question. This should be an easy one. This was just kind of put out fairly publicly on some social media platforms by some local folks here. But what jersey number does Bridget wear for Team Canada?
Different.
And now the Minnesota Lynx too, right? They're synonymous. So the same number. Again, hopefully that doesn't give it away, but I guess we'll see.
Giving out the hints, Bob.
I know, right? We got a couple other guesses. We got Lakers, Pistons. Ooh, that's not a bad guess. Little Motown action.
I mean, we grew up 45 minutes away from the Pistons?
Bad boy for life.
Hey.
Yeah. All right, here's some guesses for the jersey numbers. We got 6, 21, old school, 6, 6 and 10,
Megan was looking at my Instagram probably. A couple members of Team Canada, but most recently there's only one.
All right, and the last question. And again, I don't know the answer to this one at all either. We're going to talk about this later on, and maybe we can reveal the answer as we kind of go through the show. But how many countries has Bridget played basketball in? And this is something I'm always super interested in. I'm a geography teacher by day, so travel and getting to experience the world is a pretty important aspect of sport, in my opinion. So I'd love to hear this answer. This is going to be really interesting.
Megan, that wasn't an option. False.
And let's see, false. Yeah, false. That almost sounds like a Jim Regan quote. A Jim quote.
This is a tough one. I had to think about this one for a while.
Yeah, do you got enough fingers and toes?
No hints.
So we got 10. We got 4, 3 or 4. 3 or 4, that doesn't cut it. We can't use, come on, we got to go with specifics here. 7.
Can I say none of those answers are right?
Oh.
Yes.
Ooh.
Let's keep guessing, I guess. Is the
She gave out a hint.
And another guess is 7 here. All right, so we will tally up all of those answers before the conclusion of the show, and we will make an announcement as to who wins this nice leather size 6 ball, I believe 20.5, signed basketball, and for the gift card. So you got to stay tuned. Don't think you're getting away that easily. Okay, we'll reveal those answers as we move on. You know what? Why don't we give a little teaser? Why don't we reveal? Let's reveal a couple, because I'm actually interested in number 2. So for number 1, what selection, Bridget, were you in the 2019 WNBA draft?
I was second round, 21st overall. So
kind of ironic, right?
Yeah.
See, my hint was going to be, if you follow Bridget, just if you know what number she wore, it was meant to be.
Yeah, it was fun.
Okay. So if you said second round, 21st overall, bing, 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 you definitely have a chance to win. What about your favorite NBA team? This is something that maybe not many people know.
A lot of people got this one right. It's the Raptors.
Canadian. Oh, it was.
Can't go wrong. Yeah.
So have you been a Raptors fan like your entire life, or is this like?
It's since like college. I didn't watch a lot of NBA period growing up, so I think in college I watched a little bit more, and it's been Raptors. It's got to be.
Okay. So who's your favorite Raptor? I know it's a little off topic.
I like Lowry. I like how he plays.
Yes.
Oh, he's solid.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Good answer.
And you know what? While we're at it, let's go for all 4 here. We're kind of on a roll. So what jersey are you wearing currently for Team Canada and I guess the Minnesota Lynx?
Number 6. I think I'm locked into that with the national team too. So
yeah, nice. Mm-hmm. Was that a choice? Like, I know in international play you're pretty limited in the digits that you can choose, right? So what was the availability? Obviously, like 99, you're not pulling a Dennis Rodman or anything, but what's the availability?
The vets kind of already had their numbers locked in. So when I came to the team in 2017 with my first year on the senior team, they kind of gave me like a few options. It was like 6, 12, 23, something random. I don't know. So I just went with 6.
Yeah. And then how many countries have you played basketball?
I've played 13 outside of Canada.
Wow.
Derek quickly got that one right.
13. Nice. Quigs. You got like some secret intel or something, eh?
I think it was all those bus trips he's taken to watch her play.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, well, you know what? Without further ado, let's start to get into some of these questions. I know we've got quite a few people that are probably interested in the life of Bridget and what you've been up to. Frank, when you were away or when you were not with us, we talked a little bit about the WNBA and the resumption of that season, or at least the start of that season, and what that's going to look like for next year in terms of the shortened preseason and then getting into the 22-game regular season down in Clearwater, Sarasota area. So I don't think we necessarily need to touch too much on that. But what does the future look like for you next year? I know we were discussing how the combination of a professional basketball season in North America, along with the possibility of a professional basketball season over in Europe, what does that look like for you, and how do you prepare for that?
Yeah, it's a lot. I mean, normally this is a really strange year and nothing's normal about 2020, it seems like. But like normally WNBA season runs from beginning of May when training camp would start, end of May games would start, and it would go until October, end of September, early October. So a full summer of WNBA, and then you basically get like a week that in your contract, with your overseas contract, you get a week at home, repack, and then you're off to, for me, it'll be France next year, next fall, but wherever you decide to play overseas. So as a female basketball player, it's not required, but to make an income, to make the most amount of money possible, I guess, you have to play 2 seasons year round, not a lot of off season. And that's hard. It kind of builds up, not a lot of time at home. And then you kind of mix in the national team with that too. So there's a lot of traveling, which is always fun, but it does get to be a lot sometimes. This year will be a little bit different. Obviously, WNBA is starting later. It's getting pushed back a little bit. But once I'm done with WNBA, I'll be flying to France to play professionally in France for the winter season. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
Okay, so we look at the 22 game WNBA season. How many games is a regular European season, or at least the French professional league season? I know it probably varies from country to country, but what are you looking at for total games there, do you think?
I'm not sure about total games. It's definitely above 30. The season runs from October to May, and it's probably 1 or 2 games a week, I think, with like a Christmas break and things in there. So it's pretty full on, especially with all the travel you do in Europe.
Now, is there a lot of bus travel over there because everything's closer, or do you think you're going to be flying mostly? Or
yeah, last season when I was in Australia, we flew everywhere because everything's pretty spread out there. But in France, I think it's mostly going to be by bus, so pretty long bus trips. It'll be a different type of travel, but again, it's kind of what you have to do.
So you said that your European season is going to go from October to May. You're not going to have much of a break for next WNBA season because that season starts back up in May as well.
Right. So there's
that's a lot.
Yeah, it does get to be a lot. There's last year when I was in training camp in May with the Connecticut Sun, people were showing up late to training camp because they had their overseas duties to take care of first. So it's a lot, not a lot of break. And again, not all WNBA players go overseas. Usually the vets, the older ones, decide to like take an off season. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now in the schedule that I have to do. I choose to do, actually. I don't have to do anything, but I choose to.
Okay, well, I got one more question here, and then I'm going to let Frank kind of take over some of the mic. But we're talking about Team Canada. Obviously, this is a huge part of your life, and everybody's super proud of your achievements. I know being Canadian, it makes me really proud that you guys have been successful in qualifying for the 2021 Olympics, which, I mean, was that an expected thing? Were you guys expecting to get to that point, or is this something that was kind of unexpected and was a huge surprise, or how did that all play out?
So Team Canada, the senior team, had qualified for the 2 Olympics prior, so 2016 and 2012. But before that, I think they missed 2 or 3 Olympics. So it's always our goal to qualify. It's now become our goal to medal, to get on the podium. We're ranked 4th in the world right now. We're on the rise. We've been playing really well. So for us, it was expected. We knew we had a great opportunity, great shot at qualifying, and now we want a medal, and that's been our kind of our mindset.
Okay, can you give me your favorite memory of like the first ever Team Canada training camp experience?
That's a good one. I actually remember my first Team Canada U16 age group team. I was still in high school playing for the team. We were training at Durham College in Oshawa.
I went to college there. Sorry.
There's a nice looking at this.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
We had 2-a-days. We were 16, so it was easy back then. 2-a-days for like a week straight. And then I remember finding out when I made the team. And at that time, I thought it was going to be a long shot. I wasn't sure. I wasn't super confident in myself. I was like, Team Canada, like, that's amazing. Never thought that's going to be possible. We kind of were all in our separate dorms, and a coach comes around, knocks on the door when it's your turn for your individual meeting to find out if you made the team or not. So like super stressful time, super stressful 15 minutes when you're just waiting to hear that knock, waiting to get to your meeting. But then I get the knock, go down to the coach's room. She tells me I'm on the team and that she wants me to be a co-captain. So I remember that conversation like very vividly. My first chance to represent Canada. Ended up going down to Cancun that summer and playing the FIBA AmeriCup, which was really, really cool.
Okay, so Quigs, just so to qualify this, he just commented, Nicole helped, so I don't know if we're going to be able to, maybe we'll have to split that gift card somehow. Okay, yeah, that's incredible. I know that experience and being thrust into a leadership role kind of all at once. It's a little overwhelming, but pretty powerful, and that likely has had an impact on you and leadership roles and other opportunities too, right, in college and maybe potentially professionally at some point, and maybe on a national team at some point too. So those are always really cool experiences to have, especially at a young age.
For sure, yeah. And that head coach is now my assistant coach for the senior team, so we have a really good bond. And yeah, she always pushes me and wants like more out of me, leadership, keeping me vocal and stuff. So yeah, it was a good experience for me for sure.
All right, Frank, what do you got, man?
All right, so I think if anybody followed your career, they'd know kind of how important your mom has been throughout your journey, or your family in general, but your mom. She was my gym teacher, so I didn't know she was this Division I basketball player when she became my gym teacher until we played basketball, and I was like, hey, she's pretty good. And then she kind of told us her story, and okay, wow, amazing. So I'm curious. Now she played for Team Ontario, so obviously we can assume she's a really, really good basketball player. When was the first time you beat your mom? When was the first time you guys had that competitive game where you're like, oh, I got you?
Oh, I don't know. We don't like to play one-on-one because it gets pretty muted. I don't know the first time I beat her, but we did play most recently when I was at my senior year at Iowa State. So like this past winter, so 2 winters ago, we played a game, and like I was actually like trying pretty hard. She's tore Achilles a couple years ago, so she was taking it easy. But
I was there when she tore her Achilles.
Oh yeah, that was horrible. But yeah,
that was.
Her touch is still there. She's still strong. She can still bully anyone she wants in the paint. I was trying to keep it on the perimeter and just shoot my threes because I didn't want to get into a battle against her. I think she did win, but I still think she cheated that time. I don't know.
Did you hear that, Bob? Hold on. Did she say her mom cheated?
I think so.
Hold on. Can we bring Hey, Carrie, how are you?
Wow.
Did you catch that?
Hold on, I'm gonna unmute you here real quick. Yeah, what do you think, Carrie? Is that a real story? Is that true?
I think there's some accuracy there. It's true that she didn't want to have me post up against her. That's for sure. It's true that I couldn't defend her on the three because she'd blow by me. Is it true that I cheated? Absolutely. I still claim the win.
Hey, if you're not cheating, you're not trying, right?
That's it.
She tried to play, asked me to play the other day. We were in a driveway at Uncle Jimmy and Laurie's house. And she's doing her shooting routine. And then I grab the ball, take a couple shots. And she's like, come on, Mom, come on. And I'm like, not today. Way past that.
She don't know to play when she's feeling good.
Actually, since we got you on, Carrie, I wanted to ask you a couple questions. for myself as a coach, I coach my daughter's U10 team, and I know a lot of people that are, or hopefully people are tuning in, are probably coaches of their own kids or involved with their kids' athletics.
Mhm.
How did you successfully coach your daughter, through the high school years? And if you could kind of give us an example of maybe a barrier maybe you guys had ran into during that experience.
Yeah, there's a few barriers for sure. Anybody that's coached their own kid will have barriers. There's absolutely no question about that. For us, Bridget was pretty good in high school, obviously. And she wanted to be better, and she wanted her team to be better. So she would make suggestions to me in my coaching role. Sometimes I didn't go over too well. And there was a number of times, I don't know, Bridge, how many times I had to pull her into the back room there at the equipment room and say, Bridget, this is not Team Canada.
Yeah.
You cannot do a flare screen or we're not going to defend the pick and roll like that. This is McGregor basketball. And we had a few of those conversations, and she took it in stride. But I think for most parents are tougher on their kids, and I think, to be honest, you have to be as a coach, as a parent. You have to be because you're held to a different standard, and your people are wondering. You don't want to look like you're favoring your kid ever. So I think that's important, and it's hard on the relationship between the parent and child, but that's the conversation that you have around the dinner table after practice. But you also want to keep basketball or coaching away from family as much as you can. So the ride home is like, okay, let's get this out, and then you get home and go, okay, now we're mom and daughter again.
I could have used that advice 5 months ago.
Oh.
But I got.
What's that? Thank you, sorry.
Oh, I said I could have used that advice 4 months ago, but at least I have it for next year.
Oh, okay. It's tough. It is tough.
Yeah, it definitely presents challenges. I think in my case, it's definitely brought an element of a relationship that me and my daughter never, we would have never really had that unless we had basketball to kind of, really relate life to through basketball. For
sure. And I think that there's Bridget and I have spent hours in the gym together, like hours. And people have asked me along the way here, how'd you do it? Like, you coached your kid. How'd she get so great? What did you do? I'm like, I didn't do anything. As a parent, all you're doing is providing opportunity for your kid to play. And when she says, Mom, will you rebound for me? I'm like, again, Bridget? Okay, let's go. And that's the truth. And that's what high school was like for Bridget and me. And when we had a lot of conversations in that gym, in the Larry Leahy gym over the years, that were pretty special looking back.
Well, I listened to an interview on YouTube. Bridget actually was talking about talking about the influence that you and your husband had with her career, and she explains how you told her, if you're going to be great, like, this is on you. I'm not going to make you great. It's something you're going to have to find from within. And I noted that down kind of in my notes. Just for myself, because I thought that was, I think most parents want to make their kids great, but that's not our job. Our job is kind of hand them the tools and let them find their path. And I think Bridget did a really good job explaining that in her interview.
Yeah. So true, Frankie. And it's like, we all, the three of us here are parents, we're athletes. We love the games that we played. I love basketball. I almost as much as Bridget, not quite as much, but almost. But you're right. If she didn't, you want your kid to be better, then it has to come from within, and they drive it. Do you want to go to the gym and shoot? I don't think, Bridget, you can tell me if I'm a liar. I don't think I ever once said, hey, Bridget, let's get to the gym and shoot.
All right.
I don't think ever. Now, she had her own drive, so that was never an issue.
I think that's I think that right there shows you, you know, I mean, Bridget's made it to the pinnacle of basketball, you know, so that what you just said right there really shows you to make it to the pinnacle of basketball, it has to come from within. There's no other way,
Yep.
you know.
Bridget, that being said, have you ever had any run-ins with other coaches, maybe making suggestions on certain plays? Or I know, like, obviously your 4 years at Iowa State were pretty influential. You had a good relationship with Coach Fennelly. Can you give us an experience or a story where maybe in the huddle there was some, not controversy, but maybe some, I don't know, disagreement on anything?
Well, I wouldn't say I'm the most controversial person. I like, being very nice. My mom being the coach, I probably didn't say things as nice as I would to defend my Iowa State coach. And this was like grade 10. That story is like from grade 10. So I a little bit grade 11, I promise. But yeah, I think like at Iowa State, for example, my relationship with my head coach, it became kind of like a mutual, hey, let's talk about what we want to do. Let's put our team in the best position to be successful. How do you think this is going to work? How do I think this is going to work? Like, it was a conversation that we had. So my maturity from grade 10 definitely got a little bit better. But yeah, I think I have a lot of respect for coaches who are willing to, ask their leaders, ask the people they trust on their team, what are they seeing on the court? What do you think can work? And just having that conversation, not saying the coach is going to listen to the player every time, but to be open to that conversation is really what I respected about Coach Fenn, for sure.
Yeah, what do you think, Coach Fenn?
Yeah. I learned a long time ago that basically whatever Bridget said, that's what we did. That's why I have a play card, and it was like all different colors, and Bridget color was red and white for Canada, and that part of the play card was really a lot deeper and thicker than everyone else's. So I will say though, I saw the little highlight of Bridget's clips before this, and the first highlight was a defensive play.
Yeah, the steal.
That took a lot of work to find the one defensive play that she made.
Wow.
So
okay. So she's known as being a scorer. Yeah, that's a true story for sure.
Hey, we didn't recruit her to play defense. No. Just stay out of foul trouble. Unlike when we went to Chatham, when she got 2 fouls 5 seconds into the game. Like, Bridget, whatever you do, don't foul anybody. That might have been seriously, guys. Hi, Mom. Good to see you. Good to see you, dear. How's Rob? Everybody good?
Everybody's good.
Good. Seriously, that might have been the first time my staff said Bridget and yourself are going to have a problem, because we had a rule early: when you get 2 fouls, you come out of the game for a while. And Bridget got 2 fouls, literally 3 minutes and 15 seconds into the game in Chatham, and I took her out, and she said some things I probably can't repeat. And so we did put her back in, but I will tell you guys, I've been coaching a long time, and I've never been around a better human being than Bridget. We all talk about how good a player she is, and we all know that. But I got the experience, and I was so blessed. Our fans are blessed. Our community's blessed. That 4 years of Bridget, her mom and dad, Uncle Jim, Aunt Lori, all the people that would come down to Ames, she changed so many people in this community. And people are going to remember her as a great player for a while, but they're going to forget the shots that she made, but they're going to remember the impact she made on so many little girls here, so many people here. That's one of those things that you go into coaching praying and hoping you get the chance to be around a player in person like Bridget. And it's something I'll remember the rest of my life, and truly blessed. And it comes from her parents, comes from the great people of Chatham. I'm waiting for the sign. You know, outside of Chatham, home of Bridget Carleton. I remember, seriously, when we played there, you know, we're walking around and we went to Tim Hortons, right? I don't drink coffee, but we walked to Tim Hortons and all these people were in there going, "Hey, are you going to the game tonight?" I go, "What game?" "Bridget's here." I'm like, "Really? Who's Bridget?" And all these people are like talking about this game. And Deb's looking at my wife, go like, "Tell them you're the coach." I'm like, "No, that's okay." They don't care about me. Oh.
So Coach Steyer talked about the Iowa State way. Coach Fennelly, you were mentioning that obviously having a good person versus a good player is really important. But that recruiting process, does that have anything to do with the Iowa State way? And maybe we can hear from both Bridget and Coach Fennelly on like, what is that exactly? What is the Iowa State way?
Well, I think for us, Bob, Frankie, is number one, Coach Steyer is the reason Bridget's here. She recruited her. I honestly think if Bridget had not come to Iowa State, I would have had to take all the sharp objects out of her desk. I remember my first trip to Canada. I went to the rental car place, and the guy goes, "Oh, where's the lady from Iowa State that's here all the time to see Bridget?" This is in Toronto's airport. So they knew we were there. But the Iowa State way to us is it's we over me. It's about impacting success every single day, not when it's convenient for you, not when it's just for you, but what are you doing to make things better? And the last thing I would say, and I think this is where Bridget might have been the best of any person I've ever been around. Everyone's important. Every single person you deal with is important, from the best player on the team to the player that doesn't play, to the managers, to the equipment person, the coaches. When your best player is your best person and embraces that everyone believes in that, the whole organization grows. I don't care if it's your family, your team, your business. It doesn't matter, because when everyone sees that, and they saw that from Bridget every single day, it made my job very easy, because I just kept pointing to number 21, like, do what she does, you know. And that to me, that's what this was about. And Bridget defined it and lived it, and we were very, very lucky that we got to share 4 years of her life with her.
Bridget, you were ingrained with this from the Carleton family values, or did some of this come from your interactions with Iowa State folks too? Like, how did this manifest over 4 years to becoming the player and the leader, captain person that you are right now?
Yeah, I think it was like how I grew up, how I was raised. I mean, my mom and I share probably similar personality traits that way, and my dad too. And that's kind of what drew us to Iowa State, and Coach Steyer especially is mom. Coach Steyer reminded me a lot of my mom, just in the way like she cares about her family. She's passionate about basketball. She cares about you as a person. When I was being recruited, Coach Steyer was asking about my schooling, not just about how my game went. She was asking about my family, my sisters, how they were doing. What, you can say something, Mom?
Sitting in our gym while we were watching our junior team play back in the day, and Coach Steyer couldn't talk to you at that point in the recruiting process, but she could talk to me only because I was a coach. We sat and watched our junior team play, and we didn't talk about basketball at all. Not one bit. It was all about our families and learning about each other and the Detroit Tigers, because she's from Toledo or her husband's from Toledo originally. So we were talking about the Detroit Tigers, everything but basketball. And at that moment, I knew that Iowa State was going to be a great place for Bridget. And you can hear it from Coach Fennelly here. Like, it's an amazing, amazing place and the best place for Bridget. And, you know, now people in the WNBA or some of the other, you know, university teams that are whatever, have all these accolades. I wouldn't have traded a minute of time to go on a UConn or any other championship team that I won't mention the name, because of the experience she had at Iowa State. Wouldn't change it. Wouldn't change a minute.
I regret not getting on one of those buses
Yes, you
on that
should.
family day weekend. Unfortunately, my wife's birthday always fell.
There's a lot of people right now that regret not getting on that bus.
Man, oh man. So obviously that was a pretty significant tradition. That was something that you guys started right from day one. Let's hear about on those trips. What was a tradition for you, Bridget, maybe from, you know, everybody coming down to see you guys? And I'd love to hear about maybe like a regular tradition on a bus trip of yours that you guys took to Baylor or Texas, or was there anything that stuck out that you're like, man, I will always remember those bus trips because we always did this at this place?
Yeah, we were a very superstitious team.
Not superstitious, creatures of habit. Bridget,
I like that.
It's a little different.
Which was nice about playing in the Big 12 is we chartered everywhere. We flew private planes, so no buses, thankfully. We were very lucky about that. My favorite tradition, probably like in those travel to away games, would be on the way back after we won, because we won every away game. Do a happy flight on the way back, so we'd have someone, wasn't me on the team, but someone on the team would do this little chant, and everyone would scream, and then we'd like at takeoff we'd sing and scream and hit the windows and cheer that we just won. That was a fun part of the away games for sure.
Nice. And then anything on those Chatham bus trips that stuck out in your mind that was something that you guys kind of just made a tradition after maybe year one or year two, or was anything that the fans made tradition that maybe you weren't necessarily part of, but you enjoyed watching?
I'm not sure who should talk about the bus trip, but
Mom could probably answer this one better, because sometimes they were only names for like the game and then an hour after the game. So the first couple of years I didn't really see them a lot, but I know there was some trivia going on, some scavenger hunts. We'd always take a tour of the campus. We visited Sukup, our practice facility, every year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just those kind of things. I think Mom could probably talk about that a little bit more.
Yeah, if you want to divulge any of that, Carrie, I know some of it may not be PG or whatever, but yeah, feel free to.
But we had 35 to 48 people on each bus trip, and what a great time it was. And we got to share with some people from Chatham and from Michigan, some of our relatives from Michigan who came along, what a great place Ames is. That last senior year when we stayed there the whole weekend, and my brother-in-law Jim and my husband and Lori all set up, quite a fun little tour, and we did it up right, and not a single person on the bus trip could say they didn't have a good time. We'll say that. And every game we came to, Bridget, you guys won.
There's your lucky rabbit's foot right there, Coach Fennelly.
Amen.
Meet Coach afterwards. It's better that they won.
Well, that had something to do with Bridget was playing in the game, not the people who were on the bus.
True.
All right. So other than Hilton, Bridget, what is the best place for you that you've ever played?
Yeah, this is a tough question. I really like playing. I would say Oklahoma State. That was my career high at Oklahoma State my junior year. I like playing there. But I think my favorite would be West Virginia, just because my family made that trip almost every year except for my last year, I think. A lot of my Michigan relatives made that trip. A lot of people could be at that game family-wise. I was asking for everyone's tickets to get everyone. But yeah, I think West Virginia mainly because my whole family was going to be there.
Okay, so for those people who don't maybe know what the NCAA ticket scheme is like, each player gets 2 tickets to a game, to an away game, 4 tickets, and then you can kind of beg, borrow, and steal or swap, and somebody's got relatives closer, you give your 4 away because you don't have relatives, and you end up with 12, 20, however many you can salvage. Yeah,
exactly. So people kind of get take territory over certain away games. I know I'm always going to have family at West Virginia, so people always send them for those games. People down in Texas always get those tickets. So yeah, it works out, but it's a pretty good game.
So last question here, and then I think we're going to get to some other speed round trivia. Maybe Coach Fennelly, you can hop in on this one too, but we're wondering if you had, Bridget, somebody that was the best defender on you that you just could not score against, or you had a harder time. Getting buckets in? Like, was there a team or a person that defended you really, really well, or was it always
Not that senior year.
dropping 20?
Well, I'll put it to you this way: D.D. Richards from Baylor was just named the National Defensive Player of the Year in NCAA basketball, and Bridget, her senior year, Dee Dee's junior year, Bridget put 36 on her. So,
is that the one you did the little shake and bake on the baseline? That one with the reverse layup.
Lauren Cox, who was the third player in the draft, is going to Indiana. Bridget scored 24 on her in the first half at Baylor. Pick one. There
wasn't one.
Hey, she scored them all. I mean, I guarantee you, when they put the video together to showcase their defensive skill, Bridget's not on that video. So, there's certain people. I mean, some were different because the one thing we learned quickly was they were going to beat her up. They were going to double team her. They were going to foul her until people called fouls. And they were going to try everything. They went from big, little, and everywhere in between. And so we saw it all. And that's why we tried to move Bridget around. But, I mean, she saw the best of the best defenders in the country. And that's why I think when she goes to team, what she's doing with Team Canada and what she's doing as a pro, she's already seen it. I mean, she's not going to see anything that she hadn't seen before because everyone just, you guys talked about the bad boys earlier. Well, she lived it. It was the Carleton rules, not the Jordan rules. Let me tell you. So she got used to it.
I did see that on the one box out, like a bigger girl. They looked like a power forward. Maybe was defending you definitely in the wrong spot, top of the 3-point line on one of those highlights, and you jab stepped her, fake, pump faked, and then shot the three, and she took like 3 steps out to throw a butt in your gut, and I was like, that was definitely unnecessary. It was going in, obviously. You didn't need to box right. But it looked like it was a pretty, inappropriate move that far away from the basket. But yeah, I can definitely see that. Frank, what do you got? You got anything else here? Or are we good to go to speed round? What do you think?
If I could just touch on one thing with Coach Finley, just because I jotted this down and I thought, again, this will stay in my notebook. But I watched a lot of your interviews, and I'll tell you that the time you after the Baylor game when you guys lost to Baylor and you let the world know that Bridget is the player of the year and you if you have a problem, call me. I thought that was great. But I wrote this quote down from you.
No one called me, by the way.
I didn't have to, and she got the award. So hey, point proven. But I wrote this quote down. It's kind of self-explanatory, but if you could kind of just touch on it a little bit. You said good players want to be coached hard. Average players are hard to coach. I thought that, like I said, I wrote that down in my quote book, and I'll keep that in my quote book. Can you just touch on that a little bit for me?
Yeah, actually, that quote, Frankie, is in above the door as we go into the Suka practice facility. And if you want to be great, you got to make the sacrifice. You got to want to do the hard stuff. You got to want to do the things that other people don't want to do. You got to listen to things that you don't want to hear. You got to be willing to put yourself out there and do the things that are not easy. It's not convenient. You got to sacrifice. I bet you Bridget would tell you, I mean, I don't know how many movies she went to in college. You're like, she sacrificed a lot of stuff because she wanted to be a basketball player and she wanted to, we were lucky that she came to Iowa State, but her dream was to play for Team Canada. I mean, that was the thing from the very first time we talked to her. That was her dream. She wanted to represent her country, and we just wanted to help. Obviously, we wanted her to help us, which she did. But our number one goal was to share that experience with her. But you have to be willing to do those kinds of things. Most people, they don't want to be coached. They want to be told what they want to hear. And sometimes you got to tell someone something, and Bridget will tell you, I've told people things that they don't want to hear. I told my boys that it's like being a parent. You got to say hard things. You got to do hard things if you care about them. And if you know they're driven to be special. And that's, with Bridget, that was a no brainer. And so don't look at me and say, I want to be great, but I'll be great tomorrow, or I'll be great when I feel like it, or I'll be great when you tell me something I want to hear. Those things it doesn't work that way. And you can go, I don't care who you are. And again, it's not just about basketball. It's about being a student, a musician, whatever you do in your life. Our big thing here is anyone can be average. Yeah. Anyone. Takes no skill, takes no commitment. You want to be special, you got to invest in it. And you got to invest in it all the time. And Bridget did it from the day I met her to the day, she walked out of here. And I don't think it's an accident. I really don't.
Yeah.
When we beat Baylor the last game of the season, which no one thought we could do. No one, including me. I don't think it's an accident that Bridget was in the stands. I really don't. And AD, who's one of my all-time favorite people in the world, who was a very good friend of Bridget's, said to me after the game, she says, "Coach, we don't win if Bridget's not here." I'm like, well, what the hell if she was playing? But I do think that you don't have that impact on people unless they see it every single day. And Bridget believed it, right. Did it, and we were very lucky to have that.
So Bridget, let's maybe reflect on that a little bit without getting into a crazy amount of detail. What were some of the sacrifices, or continue to be some of the sacrifices? Coach finally touched on some social impacts potentially. Is there anything else that you could give some advice to some young female athletes, especially? I know I was just reading a stat the other day that girls' participation rate in sports is dropping very rapidly, especially after the age of 14. So maybe they're not as interested for whatever reason, whether it's maturity, body awareness, sacrificing things, whatever is going on with females in Canada especially. Can you give us some advice on potentially what it takes to be great, or to be good, or to even just continue to play for a long time?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me was, one, I enjoyed it. I like playing basketball, and I like getting better, and I keep wanting to get better, and I'm never satisfied with where I'm at. I enjoy the feeling of knowing I improved. If that's a good way to say that. I like, it's not always fun all the time, waking up at 6 a.m. for conditioning with our strength coach at Iowa State, and then jumping into practice, having to go to class for 3 hours, and then going back to practice. That's not always fun, but a month down the line, that's what I love. And I love playing sports. I like being good. I want to be the best I can. And big sacrifices if you're willing to want to be great at something. I think the biggest thing for me was it drove me crazy to not be in the gym for a full day. I hated not going to the gym one day. Even if I was just going to put up 100 free throws, I would do that just to get into the gym. Coach Ben kicked me out a couple times. So.
Now, is that for peace of mind, or is that just for the striving to improve, or is that your happy place? Or obviously you grew up in a gym, you've been in the gym since you were a very young age. Does that kind of bring you back to some of those roots, or is it just this constant drive to get better?
It's a combination of all that. I think, I enjoy it. I enjoy being in the gym by myself shooting. I enjoy getting better. I want to get better. I have higher goals. I'm never satisfied with where I'm at, like I said before. So I think it's just a combination of all that.
Okay, Frank, what do you think? We don't want to keep these folks for too long. We're gearing up on 60 minutes here. I think we got a ton of great information, a lot of really good stories, and I think some good insights for some of our young athletes and our coaches and our parents. I think we really hit the gamut here with all of you guys. But thank you so much for being on the show. We've got a couple speed round questions, Frank, if you want to hammer these out. Bridget, one-word answers, if you can give us your best answer to these speed round, just get to know you a little bit better questions.
All right, I'm ready.
You ready?
Hopefully.
All right. Favorite dessert?
Ice cream.
Shoe size?
10.5 men.
Who would you compare your game to?
Paul George.
Who's that?
I said Paul George.
Okay. This is a tough one. I want you to think about this one. Pizza or tacos?
Oh,
I told you.
I think pizza.
Pizza?
Yeah,
All right, you said it. Favorite holiday?
Christmas.
Fair enough. What was your favorite country outside of North America, like as for basketball fans?
Just in general, country in general.
Yeah.
Japan was really cool.
Okay. What's your favorite movie?
I don't watch a lot of movies.
She doesn't watch movies.
It's like a murder, but I don't watch a lot of movies. But
Okay. TV show maybe?
Grey's Anatomy.
Ah, good one. What's your least favorite gym exercise?
Oh, pull up, easy.
Pull up.
I think
Why?
Coach Quiggs might echo that one. Hey, what do you think, Coach Quiggs? Is still there? I remember
I
hearing
see-
stories about that.
I seen your clean. It was really good. There's a video of your clean, and I thought, wow, that was explosive.
Yeah,
What was your best JMSS memory?
also badminton. It had to be.
I wasn't expecting that.
No,
You would have thought, right?
Well, I'll tell you. You know what was impressive is in that video I watched of you. It was like your interview, and they're in your room, and you showed like your award shelf.
Yeah.
Jesus, Murphy.
There was something like 2003 up there, so they're gone now.
Well-
I took it down, upgraded a little bit.
Well, I seen the badminton award. Just
Yeah.
thought I'd throw that out there.
just
This
so
one
you
wasn't
know,
on. Go ahead, Bob.
We've got another special guest coming on in August, Jim Cabasso. He's the head of the International Youth and Conditioning Association, and he is a huge proponent of long-term athletic development and kids playing multiple sports. So, and Bridget, we didn't even touch on this. We could probably talk another 20 minutes about all the other different sports that you played other than basketball leading up to being extremely good at basketball, like hockey and badminton, and I mean, you name it, you probably have a trophy that has a different player on it, right?
Yeah. I love just playing sports, being a part of a team, competing. And then, yeah, it's just what I like to do. Worked out for me.
Okay, well, perfect, guys. I think we're going to let you guys go. Like I said, we're clearing in on about 60 minutes on the button, which is fantastic. It flew by. Thank you so much, all three of you, for being here. We really appreciate your time. And I'm sure all of our people that are watching appreciate a lot of the information and some of the stories that you guys told. So thank you so much for being on. And Bridget, good luck with everything in the very near future. We hope to be catching you on some television with the WNBA, and good luck with training camp and all the other stuff going on in the next 12 months. I'm sure we're going to hear back from you very shortly.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Great.
I didn't know these two were coming on, so that was
Love you, Bridget.
Yeah, we thought that would be kind of fun. Thanks, Coach.
Love you guys. Be
Coach
well.
Finley,
Everyone
thank
be safe.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Bob.
Yes.
Honored to be here.
All
Love
right,
you guys.
thanks a lot, guys.
Go Cyclones.
Go
Yeah,
Cyclones.
I'm repping it.
Carrie, thank you so much for coming on too. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me. It was fun.
Yeah, this was great.
Even though I had to hide in the basement, so Bridget didn't see me.
So,
Hey, I knew you could pull it off.
yeah.
I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure.
Frank, I think we need to give away the basketball here, though, before we get out of here, don't you think?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so we'll go back over these answers. We're going to go up to the chat to see who had the quickest and most accurate answers. We had, there's our first answer accurate for question 1. First answer accurate for question 2. So we got Megan, Owen, each with 1 each. Owen hit it, number 6. Accurate answer for number 3. And Quiggs had the accurate answer for the number of countries. Is that correct? Is that what we agree? Is that what we thought? 13? He had 13, right?
Yeah.
So 13. Yeah, so we got Owen. You're going to win that signed basketball, buddy. Good on you. Good job. And Megan, we're going to hook you up with $20 from Paisanos. Okay, so congratulations, guys. I will get those to you. I know both of those people, and I will hand deliver those for sure in the next day or so. So well done to you guys. Thanks for coming on the show tonight, everybody. And we will see you next time on the Petecast.
Bridget, you're the best. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for doing all that too. That was awesome.
Yeah, no problem. All right, we'll talk to you guys later.